Hello, my name is Ruben Silva, and this is the story about a great man and a great artist that I had the honor to get to know and work with. In 2003, I met Ralph for the first time, and since then, I've heard many stories that he has lived through. In 2006, I had the opportunity to work with him in several art projects where I experienced at first hand the methods and routines that Ralph uses on a daily basis. Recently, Ralph expressed his interest in leaving something behind as a legacy for local artists and for his family. My hope is that this documentary will give you a glimpse of what it is like to be around Ralph, and also to show you the pieces of art that he produced for the University of Arkansas Fort Smith, where I am a student. My classmates Corey Woodard, Brad Carney, and I spent a few days shadowing Ralph and asking him questions about his life and about the pieces of art that he produced at the university. Ralph was born May 24, 1942 in Long Beach, California. He has lived in Arkansas since 1982 with his wife Nancy and 2 children. He has survived his son, Ralph Benton. Ralph has also served in the United States Army as a medic in the Vietnam War. My classmates and I had the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with Ralph at his art gallery and studio. And this is what Ralph told us about his life and artwork.
So I come from a family of craftsmen. They're all masons. From that, when we moved here in Arkansas, I was able to take my studies, and I had a degree in art history, and I was able to parlay that into the trade that I have today. So I'm a multimedia artist. I work with about 40 different mediums: wood, stone, glass, fiber, and design, and also paint, and sculpt, all those different things. Really feel blessed to be able to work at something that you really felt like you were created to do, as a person. And it's been a great teacher, and I think, our communities, like a community artist, I feel like I've done something for them and given them things that otherwise they were never going to have. In a way, as an artist, I see myself as a communicator. It's a way of telling stories. I'm a storyteller. And through the years, I've been, I should say, blessed with ideas. And one of those, if you want to think of them as an invention, was to come up with the idea of using redwood as a means for telling stories through making murals. So we developed these large murals. They take about a dozen steps per inch, where we use, California clear heartwood, redwood, and then we cut it using a sand carving process, and then we overlay it with river sand and then hand paint it. So those are something that have really been significant, because I still think they're the only ones being created anywhere, maybe in the world, that we work on those. I've come up with ideas and concepts using materials that are kind of people don't take seriously, like developing enamel paint on paper, works on paper, and using something as simple as spray cans. And people just wouldn't never guess that that's how that material has been used. But yet it still creates a really interesting, and it kind of ties back to my masonry background, because many times the surfaces look like stone, that type of thing. And then in more recently, I've been creating furniture by repurposing a material that is most commonly thrown into a dumpster. It's used in the printing industry, and they print on cardboard boxes, putting the graphics on the outside of these wooden cylinders. They're made 180 degree, they're halves, and then they put them together. So anyway, I found a supply of those, and so I've designed close to 100 pieces of furniture just from those, repurposing this material, and I've been able to come up with the architectural details, actually building systems, and not to mention furniture and other useful things. And it's actually have created a whole style. I call it Neo-Deco, because it kind of reminds you of the old Art Deco from the 30s, but yet it's been has a very contemporary look. And so anyway, that's been interesting to me. Besides, I never saw myself as a teacher, but it looks like in my latter years that I may be doing more teaching and sharing with your generation. So they put this reflector wall to make sure the air goes around inside the kiva, and then they put their hearth on the other side. And that way they protect it. And then I have dreams and hopes of developing an art school in Belize for their populations and young people, and using their materials to not only create a style, but also to teach them how to craft things that they actually can export, and use for making a living.
So tell me, what was the process like to make these mirrors?
Well, of course we were asked to create something for this area. We always call it the ballroom. And it was my thought that, it should represent the many cultures that, that we would study, and people who actually attend the university. So it's really multicultural in every way. So we did the research and selected the images we wanted to use, many times representative of cultures gone, so it's as much a historical record as anything else. And so there's 28 of them, and so each one was researched, and we would create not only the central image, but we would also have a decorative border that would be, you could identify with that particular culture. What we used was like a specialized stencil material to put on the back of the mirror, and we do everything in reverse because it is a mirror. And so then we'd lay out the drawings, and then I would do a lot of the hand cutting, and then my assistant Matt Mears would be working on borders, and then we had one other person who worked on the outside edges. And so we're just like a little factory there. We were just working, and every couple of days or so we would have another mirror ready, and all the designs are actually cut in using high pressure sand, and that's how we could cut in and get the really fine detail. I had gone to Italy on a special art trip, and you're around so much spectacular sculpture and you know, incredible buildings, you know, just everything's out of marble. So I came back and still was thinking about all of that when this commission came in, and so I come up with the idea to do this big sundial and to use some of the same methods that I saw, you know, in Italy. You know, the idea of using, you know, lots of, like this is a native marble, and in the scale of it. And being here at a university, I felt like one of the valuable things that we all have to think about is our use of time. And so cut into the surfaces of these stones, which, like I say, is a native marble, are various verses and sayings by people throughout history with reference to time, the value of it, and what we do with our time. You know, we're only allotted a certain amount, and you know, in a sense, we're responsible to make sure that the time that we do have is used wisely in every, you know, part of our life. So, you know, this thing is inlaid with different types of granite, colored granites. It's the only thing on the whole campus that's true north. We took a sunshot using an engineering group to make sure that we had absolutely true north, because that's necessary for a sundial to work properly. And so it's been a, you know, a nice addition. And it's also a time capsule, and it was commissioned by this McSpadden. And so anyway, we are the McSpadden Ray family. And anyway, it was a great opportunity to do something like this that's substantial and you know, has a historical aspect about it too.
Tell me how you came up with the name for Spirit.
Well, I was thinking about, of course, where it's being located, and I was thinking about the human being, how we're made up of body, soul, and spirit. And I thought it'd be just really neat to kind of come in from that approach, the idea of this kind of ethereal, lifting piece, you know, soaring, because when people have health issues and things like that, the thing that really pulls them through is their willness, you know, the will to live. And so it becomes actually kind of a spiritual odyssey, you know, for many people. The materials are made out of acrylic, and the form I chose was representative. We used to have a mine in California where we mined tourmalines, and so I was very acquainted with that crystal form, so I thought I would use that as the vehicle to carry the idea. And so it's a 6-sided crystal, but everything's made out of acrylic, and then it's all hand polished and you know, hand beveled, and it's very heavy. But I made a small model and brought it here to show Chancellor Stubblefield, and he could see how it was going to work and everything. So the decisions were made right here where we're standing to do this particular project. But it was amazing when it all went together. You know, I almost lost 2 men in the process. My nephew and another guy, you know, reaching out that far, because it's very, very heavy. You know, and I was on the floor lifting up units, and they were pulling, and so, but it came together finally, and I think it's spectacular.